Dun, 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 dun. It's Crypto Night in Canada. Hey, everybody. How are you? I'm back.
Hey, yo.
Like it when I'm back. Hey, Ryan and Ken and Candace. How are you all?
Good.
Max.
Very good and very nice.
There you go. We got Marie Claude is in the house, and Tim Carroll. Hi, everybody. I don't know who else you're on. I'm on Tim's crazy computer again. It's a Mac. I can't manage the Mac. Anyways, how's everybody doing? Everybody had a good week so far? We're in the middle of the week, the hump day.
Yes, hump day.
Anybody have anything exciting happen? Anybody got any news?
I'm not on YouTube this week in case I'm sure you guys friggin' noticed. My mom came down and surprised me, so I've been chilling with my mom. She's going to come on and off this live stream throughout the night. So
Yay! We can't wait to see Christine. This is when you have your revolving door of people that show up at your house.
Tim Perry may make it in time for the live stream, depending on how much he busts his butt, but we'll see.
Awesome. Well, welcome. We got Riley in the house and Chris. This is really, really fun to see everybody. Jill. And there's Jill. Hi, Jill. So I didn't really have an abundance of things to talk about this week, outside of the fact that the Bitcoin conference is on right now. So I've been watching different clips. Anthony Pompliano was interviewing Mike Novogratz. That was really cool and interesting. And then Natalie Brunel did a whole thing on crypto and sort of how crypto began. And I listened to one guy was talking about that it really began. It was in its infancy. It was born from what did he say? He was born from fears of inflation and many other fears of too much intervention, and that nothing was ever going to fail. Like that whole thing that went down in 2008 with the subprime mortgage crisis and the markets falling down. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at Eddie's doll.
Oh, he's playing with a doll in the background?
Yeah, that's Eddie losing it. Whipping
that's
that thing all over.
Funny. That's so funny. Hey, Sophie. Hey, Dalge. So I just thought there was a really interesting explanation, that here they were afraid that in 2013 that inflation was going to run away. And look, took 10 years for it to happen. And now we're in the midst of, I think everybody's feeling it now. Like everybody is feeling the pinch of the inflation. And so I just thought maybe we could banter back and forth about the fact that if that was how it was born, and here we are at the point where inflation's about to do another jump up again. Is this the catalyst that is this the thing that really says that that's why it will stay forever? So Candace, what do you think of that?
Well, I mean, I think it's got to get a lot worse before we have any chance of it getting any better. And right now, I don't think we're being aggressive enough to get it under control. So I think it's going to be a long, painful trip.
Through with inflation specifically, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, with inflation, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very, very worried about it. Actually, it's one of the things that keeps me awake at night when I'm thinking about how do I service my customers. They're all mainly government funded, and so it's really. They only get $9.56 in Ontario to feed people breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and 3 snacks. And if they need supplements, that has to be included in there as well. So that's not a lot of money to feed people. Anyways, that's neither here nor there, but it is on my radar because it's not going to get any better anytime soon. Ken, what are your thoughts?
I have to agree. It's, yeah.
Are you noticing it when you go to the grocery store?
Not really, because the wife, remember, she does all the shopping. So, but I am noticing the amount she's spending versus the amount she's bringing home is less now.
Yeah.
So, but we still go to a local butcher for our meat. So we're not really impacted too much in the price of meat. So,
how about in the price of gas? Like, what do you drive?
Well, I have 2011 Volkswagen Jetta, and I fill it up every 2 months because I live so close to work. So
yeah. And so Ryan, are you noticing the prices increasing out there? Because you guys are lucky you don't have much sales tax, right?
Yeah. Oh, but it's still through the roof. I really only know I really only notice it on gas, which I'm lucky enough not to need very much, and then groceries is disgusting. So I can only imagine if I'm a single dude with virtually no expenses, and I'm noticing groceries are really sickening when you're paying like $50 for a bag of groceries, kind of thing. It's getting a little bit wild. Like a loaf of bread now in Calgary's. Well, I mean, I could go down the list. Bread, cheese, paper towel, believe it or not, is like, yeah, I know, $12 for a brick of cheese. Like paper towels, like $15 for a 6-pack of paper towel. You might be lucky to catch it on sale for $6, $7 for like a one-off at Shoppers. But I'm starting to pay attention to the sale, so I guess that's how it hit me.
Yeah.
I had an interesting conversation with one of my clients today, and we were talking about, because we're going on a bit of a road trip next Friday. And she asked me if we were flying or driving. I said driving, because when we did the comparable of, what would cost it per tank to fill up for gas just one way back, wasn't even close to one of our round trip airfare. And I said to her, and she goes, well, geez, you're saving double. I said, actually more. I said, because the price of a rental car when we got down there for 10 days, just for a mid-size, was like $1,600.
Ooh.
And she goes, they came back from Florida, like when we came back that March 2020, just that March break time, whenever just before everything really went down. And they live out in sort of the Simcoe area, which is, so it's, I guess, probably an hour and a half, 2 hours from Toronto. They walked across, got a rental car for $40. How come the price of rental cars is so inflated, and yet the price of coffee at Tim Hortons hasn't gone up?
Price of coffee at Tim Hortons has gone up.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, they're giving you a smaller cup, my darling.
A medium's a medium, right? Like,
Well,
can you drink Timmy's, right? Like, has the price gone up in the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think it has. Yeah, not
Yeah,
by
but
much.
I mean, it has,
like
okay,
by a
5
nickel.
cents, 10 cents, maybe, right?
Yeah, nothing drastic.
Nothing noticeable. Nothing where you go, are you crazy?
You know,
like
you're paying, for 99% water in a coffee, right? So,
but I just don't understand. Like, at what point how do they justify a car is a car is a car?
that's all supply and demand. It's all supply and demand.
If you need a rental car, though, you've got no choice. You're going to get the rental car. You're on vacation. There's almost no casual reason to have a rental car. Whereas a coffee, it's kind of discretionary in that sense. I don't know. I feel like you're in a bind already. Inflation's through the roof, so they have that as an excuse. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't they just jack up the price? Like, it's not like you're not going to rent a car. You know what I mean? When you land,
well, that's no money out of their pocket. Like, they bought that car already. Like, they're not paying for gas. They're not paying for the insurance. The car is going out, especially in an airport.
For sure, they're paying for insurance.
They're just taking advantage of the market, the current situation in the market, right? Everybody.
So is that? Do we call that taking advantage of the market or price gouging?
Well, it's
every time.
Let's call it the way it is.
Yeah.
Well, every time.
Gouging.
Yeah, but every time a price goes up, it could be price. I think if they can get if the prices were too high, nobody would rent cars. So that's just what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this is the highest allowable that they could get away with, and I'm more than on board with it. This is the times that we're living in. We set ourselves up for this. If I can't afford to rent a car because it's $130 a day or $250, whatever it is, I'm just not going to rent a car. I mean, it'll change my travel plans, but I have no issues with them charging this.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Your mom said that she filled her truck up for $120. What was her fill up price before?
No, it's $250 per truck, but
that's the work trucks.
$250 per truck. But what was it before?
What, 450s, 350s, 550s?
Yeah, 350s. It used to be, she said, about $150, and now $250 a truck. Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And then it does have a trickle over effect. I think they're already starting to see the real estate market is starting to slow down a bit. I'm hearing. Are you guys hearing that?
I've seen a story on Global about that. Yeah, I think it's supply and demand of raw materials. Like that's what it is in the end, you know. Because we still in Sarnia here, they're still they're banging out houses left, right, and center still. I just delivered a toilet in Forest today. Big subdivision they're putting in. So I'm thinking it's just a supply issue with the goods and services, because I'm seeing houses that they're not getting worked on, you know, they're half built, 3/4 built, and all of a sudden, you know, you don't see anybody there for like a month, and all of a sudden you see a crew there with a whole bunch of materials. So I'm thinking that it's a material issue that's causing that.
Yeah, probably.
A lot of these people, though, like for instance, in rural Ottawa or rural anywhere, I guess, a lot of these people will build houses themselves, right? But it'll take them over a 2-year period, yada, yada, yada. For those people who built before this boom, okay, and they were approved on certain loans at a house value of $500,000, but now your house is appraised at a potential value of $800,000. 1, you're hooped. 2, you can't afford the materials to even finish your house. And 3, now you're just paying out of pocket every month. And good luck selling it for anything more than pennies on the dollar. So those people are all totally hooped. I mean, there's probably going to be some mega bargains but you'll have to call people in to check for mold and all this kind of stuff, because again, it's not finished. But they're done. Those people are totally screwed, because like what Ken said, their house is now totally different value or future potential value. But material costs off the bat when someone is building as a pay-as-you-go homeowner kind of thing, and there's a lot of them who do the pay-as-you-go through the steps, they're toast. They're totally toast. Like if they were going line by line with only a 5% little window, like lumber costs alone shut them out.
Yeah.
Well, there's a comment there from Just Me a Vet. I'll say hello to him. I just started talking to him in the DeFi space. We actually talked about that at one point in time, you know, time to get a farm and live off the land. We talked
Well,
about
the thing that I keep thinking that intrigues me is being able to have a bigger plot of land and do some smaller, tinier homes. That still really appeals to me. We finally have a new domicile sorted out. You know, that was a big concern. So we were watching what was going on in the marketplace, because we were in the market ourselves about where we were going to go. And I said to Tim, I feel like the housing market's just too hot right now for us to buy anything, because then I'd be buying at the top. And we've all learned, no buying at the top. You wait till it tanks down, then you buy. And so anyways, so we're in about 800 square feet here. We're moving into something that's 600 square feet. We have to downsize again. I said to Tim, we can now be titled minimalists. That's what we're going to be called, minimalists.
We get more minimalistic. We're going to have an outhouse.
I'm not exactly sure where we're going to hang our coat in the winter, but it's a really cute place, and I'm really thrilled about it. Anyways, but when we were in our search, what would have appealed to me would have been, and many people will argue probably that we were looking for a trailer park. I'm not a trailer park. I don't want a trailer park. Nothing wrong with a trailer park. I'm talking about some of these tiny homes, you know, where you got the containers, the shipping containers, and you can kind of have some funkier little tinier homes and make a borderline like a commune. Now, not cult-like commune, but a commune where we have a center garden, then everybody can, help out and plant, and then
we'll make sacrifices to the Bitcoin gods.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Satoshi, and we'll all start chanting. Perfect.
You guys are crazy. But that appeals to me, that it's not zoned anywhere. So all the governments, all the municipalities have made it difficult to have more than one dwelling. And I get it. I get why. But I think we're going to have to rethink some of this, because who's got the money to afford any of this stuff?
Well, it's interesting because there's more people that are looking at alternative ways to live. I had a client today through a clinical assessment. He'd had a stroke, and he had to come back and go through a driver assessment to make sure that he was okay to drive, which he was. But he worked at they got the camper trailers in from Illinois, and then they did the POI and stuff like that, and got it ready for Canada and sale in Canada, right? In the next 60 days, he was expecting 400 camper trailers in.
Ooh.
400.
Is that good or bad?
That's huge.
Is it?
That's huge. He says they're flying off the shelf. He
Yeah,
says
because
people are
people
looking
watch
at it for
YouTube.
alternative sleeping. And when I was down in Simcoe today, there was a couple in an RV, and they rolled their shopping cart up, and they were. I mean, it's April. Where are you going in April with your RV, other than the fact that you're probably living in it?
Right.
But I think people will be able to afford that.
Well, see, I'm noticing online that a lot of people are actually selling their trailers now. They can't even afford to have that as a pleasure destination in the summer now.
Oh, wow.
Well, okay. Did you see what it cost to rent a campsite now? That used to be an affordable option for people to take their kids on a bit of a summer vacation. What are the provincial parks going for right now? I mean, Ken, you're right down near the Pinery. Like, yeah. I've heard it's getting up there. It's almost the same price as a hotel. I will look. Candice, how do you feel about all this?
Well, luckily I don't camp out in the woods, because that's a bit of a saving grace. But yeah, I mean, it's getting bad, I think. The other big issue too is the fact that we're now at that point where we're starting to ramp up the interest rate, which is a good thing. But on this micro topic of the housing and people trying to move into the housing market, it's perhaps not the best situation for them, or for people who jumped in at zero interest and all of us are near zero interest. And now all of a sudden they're realizing, oh, I've got to pay a lot more. I can't afford a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're good for their first 5 years at a low interest rate. And then, when the renewal comes, it's like, oh.
When are they saying the next interest rate is supposed to be?
Isn't the next meeting in June?
Is it
June? I don't know.
I thought it was June. I think.
Yeah, I think so. You know what I was thinking with Candice's point, though? Because how many people were we reading about that were just slamming the housing market to beat the rate hike, right? Just slamming. So instead of paying the extra 1.5, you're paying an extra $300,000 on your house. So
exactly.
It made me wondering, like, what the hell were you thinking? And for one thing, and I mean, because that 1.5% difference in rates versus, I'm not talking prime, I'm talking what you'll actually be charged or whatever, but let's just say that point or 1.5 gap, quite honestly, your $200,000 or $300,000 could have made a hell of a lot more of a return over that amount of time than 1 or 1.5, whatever the gap was, right? Guaranteed.
Yeah.
I never understood why people were flooding the housing market at 0%, whatever it was, trying to beat rates at, again, paying like 30, 40, 45% more than asking value. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. To me, it blew my mind.
Okay, I've got the camping rates for the Pinery, which is it's a provincial park, right?
Yes.
Ken?
Yep.
Provincial park in Ontario. Now here's what I don't get, and maybe you guys will have to explain this to me. Electrical rate versus non-electrical rate. Okay, I'm assuming the electrical rate means you can plug stuff in.
Yeah,
that's right.
Okay, so we're all on the same page about that. So it would be an assumption then that an electrical campsite would probably be more costly than a non-electrical one.
Well, they charge you more.
No.
Get this. A regular Tim.
I got
Oh my God.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
The regular non-electrical campsite is $46.50.
Mm-hmm.
And an electrical campsite is $42.
So the non-electrical is more, correct?
Yes.
It's because it's
that kind of
no.
Gonna save money. Go plug in.
It's the turnover rate, because non-electrical are people in tents.
Okay, no, you know what it is? This thing was misguided.
Or maybe there's just some resistance.
You're sure it's a thing that's misguided?
No, because I only read the abbreviated. The one that was I apologize. I'm going to make a correction. Notes. No. So the one, just ignore that, because one was for senior citizens and one was for not senior citizens. So,
Okay.
but the regular
Seniors
electrical
camp?
is with tax $59.33
And does it say how long, or is that per day or
per day. $59.33 per day, and the non-electrical is $52.55. And now if you're a senior, you get a discount here, but it's not by much, but you do get a discount. But anyways, that's really crazy. Now that's for a trip, that's for a double A campsite. If you don't want a double A campsite, and I'm not sure what that means, you can go to an A campsite, and it's slightly less. And then a B campsite's even less. Like, there's probably people watching this that go, Nancy needs to stop talking. She doesn't know what she's talking about. But I'm just saying that even taking your kids camping, if you wanted to do that for a weekend, that's getting pricey. That used to be the cheap thing to do.
I literally just did the math. If I pay for a non-electrical campsite, so tenting, for 30 days, I pay just slightly more than my apartment, fully furnished, all my bills included, and heat and warm and my shower. Yeah, do the math. Times it by 30 days.
Crazy.
This is ridiculous.
if you can get your hands on one of those free park passes they hand out,
Dude, I'm like,
then you're Gucci.
either I just bought the most affordable tent known to, or I have the most affordable tent known to man, or people are overpaying in their friggin' parks. That is insane.
No,
So an electrical site costs you almost $1,800 a month.
Ken, he can't get an NFT drop. You think he's going to get a park pass drop?
No.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They need to do those park pass drops as NFTs through VV.
Well, see,
Because I think Journey's here tonight. He stopped in for a minute. Journey's got some mad tricks. Maybe he can teach you guys how to get a park pass.
that particular provincial park, they redid the road there last year.
Oh boy.
And they widened it so that they could have more parking in a lineup to actually get into the pinery.
So what you're saying is they're charging more, and after widening, you're getting less.
No, I just looked it up. All provincial parks have approximately the same one.
Same one. What?
Same price.
Well, why don't you go to a provincial park? Just drive out to the middle of nowhere and throw up your camp, and you're done.
Yeah, but then people will think you're squatters on their property. And
Well,
see,
if you go
squatters
out
have
far
rights,
enough away
apparently.
After a bad night of beans.
This is a big country. There's a lot of open places.
There is a
Somebody
lot of
drives-
open
I mean,
places.
the only person you might run into is like the survival guy, that Les Strauss.
And he would keep that a squat proper.
Hmm.
No.
Oh, Tim Carroll says that max nights of camping is 23. Ryan, you'd be hooped. You'd get there and have to go where else am I going to go?
You'd have to rent a car.
Maybe they're doing it that way so people don't realize that it's more expensive to sleep in a tent than to rent a townhouse.
Oh, this is true. Wow, that's a good point.
Well, if that's the case, though, I can imagine the trailer parks, like the seasonal trailer parks, like they were getting up to like 3,000 a season here,
Yep.
and that's what, maybe 5 months before they get you to make you pull your trailer out.
Yep.
Well,
Like,
I'll just look that up and we'll
No,
get
he's right. He's right, because I had a client who had a trailer up in just outside of Kincardine, and it was seasonal, and they're strict.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Now that's a whole experience. Those camps are a whole experience. Let me just see if I can find some rates here for us.
Like Disney or
Yeah, kind of like Disney.
Cedar Point.
Okay. You know what though?
are you getting down a hole?
Well, I don't know. Boy, this is really interesting. You can camp there.
Are you ignoring the guests?
No, I'm just. Anyways, if anybody knows where the seasonal rates are, to Tim's point, I wonder how much it costs to have a trailer at a trailer park all season.
Yeah, but you're still paying for electrical, for sewage.
Wouldn't you get that as part of your fee for
Not
being
necessarily. It depends. This one client of mine, where she had her trailer, it was private. like this person owned a couple hundred acres and had made it into a business. So, I guess a KOA still a thing? They still around? Are they? What does KOA stand for?
You're on mute, Ryan.
Sorry, the dog. Campgrounds of America.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I don't know why they're. Are you sure it is? Because the K, or are they just being funny with the K?
So Ken was right yet again. The freaking Oracle was right. It's about $3,000 for the full season, and that is from May to Thanksgiving weekend, and it includes water, picnic table, and fire pit. So
then
first Friday in May to Thanksgiving Monday includes water, picnic table, and fire pit.
So throw that on top of your mortgage you're paying monthly anyways, that you're not living in because you're staying there. But that's still a cheap alternative for a family to get away.
Would be cheaper just to get
For the whole summer, man, because like cottages are like that price for a week. Right?
I know.
So
we charge.
That's what we charge.
Yeah. See what I mean? So you got a week versus 5 months, but it's still a big chunk, right?
Now, if you wanted to extend that season, see, they're really good at upcharging you here. These people know how to make money. So if you wanted to extend the season, so that's the last Friday in April to the last Sunday in October, they'll charge you another $269. Now, if you want an extra adult,
What?
registered at your site, apparently you have to register 2 adults. So if you have another adult, that's another $99. Prepaid visitors, $169.
Oh,
Friends, do we have to pay for our
Septic
visitors?
dumping. Septic dumping. Do you want to hear what septic dumping costs?
Go ahead, Ken. What's it going to cost?
If we came out and done it, I believe it's $75.
$300. Reserved car parking, $89. Utility boat trailer parking, $359. And if you want to winterize your trailer, $129. And that includes standard $99. Oh, extra for $99 extra for ice machines and dishwasher. And your hydro has its own meter, so you'll be charged that on top. And they have all kinds of winter storage fees. So they're really exceptionally good at this
Plus
game.
the price of the trailer.
Yeah. So
I just feel like I got my camping in and that was free.
oh, look it. It's camping night in Canada from all non-campers. Because, okay, let me ask you this. Ken, do you camp?
Not anymore. I used to.
Ryan, do you camp?
Not anymore. I'd like to, but
Yeah,
No,
Candace doesn't camp. And I'm just asking you, do the two of us look like we'd be good campers? And just this could be a poll. Poll the audience. Who thinks Tim and I camp?
Here we go.
I think you guys camp.
I think Tim gets campy, but that's something else.
That's just that's not enough calcium, and I get camps.
No, we went camping once. We went camping once, and we got trapped in a bad rainstorm, and literally the tent.
Okay, I thought it was a good idea to pitch it on a hill, but apparently not.
The water
It became a water slide. I've never scooted so much in my life.
We had raccoons.
With my pants on.
Oh, we had raccoons that got on the roof of my car, the hood of my car,
that's a trunk.
and was scratching the little bits of rust, because that was back when we first were dating, and it was scratching the little bits of rust to get in at our Subway sandwich garbage, very stinky. They were trying to get through the rust in the car to get at it. Then they were sniffing around our heads as we were lying on the ground. That was the first time we've been camping and the last time we've been camping. We have never camped since then.
See, I call that a good time. I really do.
The last time I went camping,
it's good.
Yeah, the last time I went camping, basically a guy took me and my friend out to an island, dropped us off. We spent 3 days there. I spent the entire time hoping he was going to actually show up to pick us up at the end because we had no way back. But he did. And, but it was cool. Like, we had to bring our own water, everything. There was no water, nothing on the island. It was just, in the Atlantic. So.
Yeah,
That's
I guess hostels are up too. Like everything's up.
Everything. Your mom was saying that. So, with all the prices of everything going up, then where do we go? What do we do to preserve our wealth? I mean, we've been talking about this for an entire year now, about stocks and doing our little side hustles but doing the side hustles now feel like a necessity just to keep up with the high price of the stuff we're consuming. And I don't even know it. They're talking about that inverted yield curve a lot. So does that mean that we think we're going to a recession?
Okay, it's only one of the friggin' indicators, right? Candace, I'm sure, knows this 100%.
Yep.
But, okay, I think Jim Cramer said this best. Now, he's exaggerating when he says these numbers, but he says the inverted yield curve has predicted 12 of the last 6 recessions, meaning it's obviously not right all the time, meaning that sometimes it'll predict a recession that doesn't happen, right? So it's just one indicator. But when you add that up to every single thing we've been talking about for 9 months, I mean, I feel bad for channel members sometimes because I'm just not buying stocks every day like I used to. But it's like, this is just the last indicator we needed right now, quite honestly. And then you have the rate hike meeting in June for Canada, whatever, May or June for the States, I'm not even sure. That on top of it. And now we have inflation data coming out next week for the war and how the war is going to impact us. I don't think they're, I love when Jim Cramer said this. Now, mind you, again, he's wrong like 70% of the time. But when he did say that it predicts successfully 12 of the last 6 recessions, that seems to be fair. That seems to be the consensus of everything I'm looking up on YouTube about it. Everyone's got a different opinion. But again, the general consensus is that it is literally the last indicator we needed right now. Of all the other ones that we've already had, this is another one that says, boom, recession's coming, guys. And it's, to me, I mean, like this was the last thing we needed right now. And we needed that, like that rally. Everyone thought, oh, the market hit bottom and everything's going up again or whatever. Then the Fed comes out, blasts a bunch of news today. I wasn't able to talk about it on my Market Close live stream. That's not necessarily fantastic for the market. And, you know, you've got this constant yield curve inversion. You've got the beyond negativity in the media coming out from the war. So there's no positive news or catalyst ever. Even if they make success on a peace talk, we're not going to hear about it because they want this conflict to resolve in another way that we're not a part of. So I feel like we're all just playing a stupid game here, but the indicators are obvious and clear as day. And then this was the last indicator that they said 2 or 3 months ago. The one we really don't want to hit is the inverted yield curve. We don't want to have the 10 and 2 flop. 10 and 2 flops, and we still have people saying, I doubt there's going to be a recession. Well,
Ryan, do you think that they doubt that there's going to be a recession because there's now a belief that the feds will swoop in and they will do everything at all costs to stop any kind of an economic downturn?
Yes, because this is the thing. That's not how capitalism and the United States should be doing things. But what freaks me out is that I think what scares me the most is that everything says that they're going to do that there should be a recession. But now more than ever, I trust the government I trust the government the least that I ever have, kind of thing. And that's what freaks me out is I have so much of my own personal bets hedged, expecting a recession. And if they continue to be idiots and sidewind us and kind of skirt the rules by printing more cash and fugazing the whole economy, well, then I'm hooped, and so is my hedge. So like that's my problem is like sometimes I wonder, you know, when I buy my hedge, like some of the gold stuff, am I playing to an old game that doesn't exist anymore?
I wonder that all the time.
Was
that an old game and it doesn't exist anymore?
So
that's my only, yeah.
What happens with Biden's approval rating being even lower than Trump's approval rating this far into the presidency? The midterms coming up, which will probably turn the House. What does that do? What does that do to all of this? Does it accelerate it? Or does it keep the engine just chugging along and it doesn't matter who's in power?
I'd love Candace's opinion on this, but my personal opinion is it just keeps chugging because you're going to have a Democrat as president who wants XYZ done, and you're going to have Republicans in Senate who say you're not getting XYZ done. So it's literally a flat line for the country, and it's just a stalemate. So that's my gut because Biden's not going to have good numbers in the midterm. So they're going to lose like so bad in the midterm. It's not even funny. So you're going to have Biden who wants to get done everything. And if people thought Biden was ineffective now, Wait till there's actually a majority of Republicans, because that is going to show true ineffectiveness. I think it's just going to be a stalemate, maybe shit, but not a whole lot of upside, in my opinion. But I'd love to hear Candace's opinion on this, and then Ken's and everyone's. But yeah.
No, I think Ryan's absolutely 100% right. I mean, you're going to be seeing the House stopping Biden. You're going to see Biden using his veto. It's just going to be craziness. I don't think anything will actually get accomplished in 2 years. And then of course, once we have an election, that'll be another story. I don't think, unless the Democrats really find a superstar, I just don't see them getting back in at this point.
And this is the thing, is when you start having, and I do not want to bring up any names, but when people start, you can even tell that the mood is changing, because jobs is now a massive focus for everybody. Inflation is real. The whole price at the pump didn't matter when Trump was screaming about it and it was $3, but it matters now. And for me, I think that Joe Biden is going to get wiped on the midterms. And then, like Candace said, he'll have absolutely no avenue to get anything done. And then Kamala, however you pronounce it, the vice president, she's such a lame duck vice president. It's not even funny. Her approval ratings are shot. I don't know how they even recover from that. I have no clue how those two can recover. And I actually saw something. I was talking to my mom about this the other day, and it changed my tone on how I'm going to speak about Biden, because we all have grandfathers. And quite honestly, it really sickened me when I saw him at a ball. I don't know what the ball was. And Secret Service abandoned him. And the Daily Wire, which is Ben Shapiro, super right-wing guy, okay? He's coming to President Biden's defense, and I'm watching this video, and it was Biden walking around looking for people, disheveled and totally confused. Now, mind you, he's probably confused because he's an old man, and he's got some stuff going on, right? But the whole point was, it's almost like, I almost wonder if they're sabotaging this guy a bit. Like, they're making him look fucking dumb. Because it's like he's an old man wondering where his Secret Service is in a group filled with people. And it's like, one, where the fuck were the Secret Service? And two, it was like when George Bush Sr. grabbed the butt of that like 20-year-old girl and he was like 97. And it's like he's hallucinating. I mean, he's got dementia, move on with life. I almost feel like I've got to really chill on how hard I come down on Biden. And in saying that, though, I truly believe that he's not 100% up to snuff compared to maybe what he used to be. I just feel
look at the way the gentleman walks. You can tell just in his physical demeanor, he's not there.
But it just had me realize, though, that like political sides aside, I would never do that. I feel bad because he's deteriorating in front of my eyes, and I almost feel bad now. Like there was a live stream I was watching the other day, and he's fumbling with his cue cards. He has a hard time reading it. And I'm like, this is not him stupid. This is him experiencing age. So I had to really just chill out on my vibe on him for a bit, because I feel a little bit bad. But when I say that, though, however the Just Me Yvette said, Kamala Harris is useless. Absolutely the worst. So 2024 will be an interesting year for the elections. And then not only that, right after 2024, we have 2025 here in Canada, which is when the coalition ends. We're probably going to be, fake coalition, yada, yada, yada. So it's going to be an interesting 2 years between 2024 and 2025. Big time.
So do we think with that coalition that they're just going to put anything through that they want?
Or why wouldn't they? It's not a legal coalition, because Justin Trudeau couldn't risk losing his prime ministership. That would be possible if it was a legal coalition and if there were by-elections that had seat swap. But he didn't do that. He said, well, I'll do everything but make it legal. And Jagmeet Singh said, okay, no problem. Just give me whatever I want. And Justin Trudeau's like, okay, bud. And that's basically every damn thing that Trudeau has wanted since. Boom, 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 boom. And I mean, that's why I think Jagmeet Singh's obviously slow and dense and whatever, but Trudeau's smart for this.
I wonder at what point does Jagmeet.
I call him Jugs.
Okay, I wonder at what point that he wakes up and goes, liberals aren't getting back in, PCs are, and I need to change my tune, and I'm out of this arrangement.
He's lost the leadership, in my opinion. He's a dead duck.
Oh, he's the worst.
He is the worst. I mean, it's funny.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think with Jugmeat, it's basically he wants to get the dental care, and he just wants to be known in history as the guy that brought that in, and that's his goal. If he gets that, I don't think he cares whether he's around at the next election.
So can I ask you, Candace?
Candace, in all reality, that's not gonna come in while he's in power.
What?
If at all.
Actually, I mean, he wants in this budget that they're releasing this week, he wants there to be stuff in there already for the 12 and unders.
Well,
He's already laying down the law saying
okay.
these have to be in this budget, or else, my support's being withdrawn. There's that, and also some kind of a $500 credit to go towards homeowners.
Well, speaking of homeowners, Trudeau is now going to make it illegal for 2 years for foreign home buyers, but he's still going to allow foreign workers, students, and something else to purchase homes.
So everyone.
I'm sorry. What's the difference?
There is no difference, especially if you realize how business works. Like, I don't want to single out this one particular country, but I know of this one particular country's actions in real estate and in automotive and how they work. And they send over family. Those family I'll call them slumlords back home. Send over family members and they live here, which is all good. And they come over super, super rich and they buy up this little here and there and everywhere else. And it's a constant drag. But the thing is, they do it through the subsidiary, whoever is there. So and that's always the freaking case. They do it for vehicles. And I don't want to even mention the friggin' country, but it's all the time. And they do it through friends, through family member. And it's because if you screw the deal, you're going to die back home. It's as simple as that. Like, you're going to go to jail. Actually, I have no problem saying it. China. In fact, in the old industry that I used to work in, it was such a bad problem with this where they would send over people to buy illegally that we had to be on the lookout. We had an RCMP number for it. And I hate to say it, the sad thing was a deal's a deal. So 90% of the people swept it under the rug. But I know for a fact I've met 5 or 6 of these fake Chinese applicants buying XYZ to ship it over. The ID's garbage and we get fraud report. It's such a scam, dude. And they do the same thing with property, like literally, because you'll have one guy send over 10 people with cash, easy, and they will literally just buy up everything. And almost like, it's almost, this is almost too strong, but when they would like ship immigrants to a country and then you owed them 10 years of labor or whatever, like gangs doing that, it's almost kind of like what the Chinese used to do with assets and the people that they would send over, because they got a chunk of change. We all know that they did, and they owed time. It was crazy, dude. It was crazy. I don't think these laws are going to make any difference. They're going to use the same people they've been using for years.
Mm-hmm.
Do they get anything financially? I know they owe their time, but do they get anything financially? Do they get to keep the house at the end of it all?
I don't know about real estate, and I know that the vehicles, they don't get anything besides a small commission. And in reward for that, they risk Canadian jail time. So it's literally a total scam, and it comes from one particular place. At least in auto. I don't want to speak to real estate, but.
Yeah. I think the one area where you just have to be a little bit careful is there are some legitimate immigrants that come over. They're considered foreigners, and they're legitimately buying a house because they're going to make a life in Canada. So
of course,
when you're sort of legislating against foreign ownership, you kind of have to sort of find that fine edge so you don't hurt these people who are legitimate, creating jobs in the community and such.
Well, quite honestly, the only part of the exception that I have a problem with, Candace, was when Tim said student, because 90% of the people who are used in these scams are students. And it's 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds who are given all of this money to buy a brand new XYZ, ship it overseas, collect their money, throw away the dirty document that they used, and it's over with. And it's always someone under 25. And it's because I think they're vulnerable. That is me, though, being totally biased, ladies and gentlemen, because of what I used to do. And I know. That's it.
Well, I often wonder whether or not let me just back the train up a little bit. It's not that I'm not so worried about. It's twofold. The foreign buyers, the people that are buying, it's them leaving the houses empty. So you can it's taken our neighborhoods from being a vibrant place where people would stand out on the end of the street. Actually, we're going to exclude Ken because he probably does this. He stands out and he knows all his neighbors, probably has his garage door open and everybody come on over and have a beer. Oh, no, wait, he does that online with us. So there's no doing it outside. But anyway, so, but that used to be the thing. Like there was the days gone by where you'd ride your bike, you'd know where all the kids were in the neighborhood because all the bikes would be on somebody's front yard. And the thing was, you only had to, there was one rule in the summertime, come home when the street lights came on. As soon as the street lights came on, everybody's kid ran home. You're losing that vibrancy in the neighborhoods now because what's happening is the foreign buyers are coming in and they're buying up the location and then it sits empty. So you're getting that, you'll have 2 or 3 houses in a row where they're just completely empty. Nobody's really tending to cut the grass. So it's deteriorating the neighborhood. So that's a bother. I don't mind foreign owners owning something if you're going to come in and live in the neighborhood and be part of the community.
But,
that is okay, but that's not what's happening.
Why do they have to live in the house?
They don't, but somebody should.
Yeah,
they're not even letting it go. Like they're just empty, Ryan. This is what you see all the time.
And that's in part what's driving up the price because they've got funds. They want it so bad, they'll just buy it. So that's what drives up the price. That's what creates the bidding wars, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying that's what the shtick is now, but I'm saying that's probably a good catalyst of how it all started.
How do you think Airbnb impacts the housing market?
Well, that's a different
Because I'm looking at it as just a total flip side of foreign buyers.
Right.
Because you have domestic buyers buying houses with no intention of ever living in them. You know what I mean? And I mean, there's probably a lot more domestic buyers for Airbnb than there are foreign, Chinese, Russian buyers for our apartments.
So there's only 2 things with the foreign buyers. There's the vibrancy of the neighborhood. I don't care if they want to buy it and come and live here. It's leaving them empty that bothers me. The second thing that bothers me is like BlackRock. They own a large portion of the real estate market now. And that is disconcerting because then that means that they'll be able to control the rents, right? And then they're like a whale, they're like any other crypto whale. They control whatever happens in the market. If they roll over, the whole thing goes. So those are some big concerns for me. It's not necessarily people buying for an investment or Airbnb or anything else. As long as there's use going on with the property, it's the big dogs buying and then we're all strangled. Yeah, see, Gary says, in my neighborhood, we have 5 townhouses that are empty. Yeah, this is what's happening. They're just buying them and they're not even renting them out. If they rented them out, it would help with the housing situation, right? But you're buying houses and nobody's living in them. It doesn't contribute to fixing the problem.
So, okay, because what I'm thinking might be tinfoil hattish, but I'm just thinking like, if I owned 2 apartment buildings and then my buddy owned 2 apartment buildings, lots of available housing available right there, but they just built an entire community of townhouses. Would it not be in my best interest for me and my buddy to buy half that community to make sure that my apartment building stays full and consider the townhouse as a loss leader, as almost every business does anyway? I'm just wondering if those houses are just simply loss leaders for bigger options like the Paramount properties and XYZ. That's what my guess would be. But so then going against that though would mean that we're totally going against that is tough for me, because then how much red tape is too much red tape? I mean, what can you do? What can't you do? And at the end of the day, plus if I want to go buy a house in the United States and they label me a foreign buyer who's going to damage their economy and their community, where I want to go snowbird there, I don't know. It's a tough one for me.
It's very complicated. I just have to point out, this is an awesome comment here. Just me, Yvette said, I'm in my vehicle listening to you through my radio. You all sound awesome. Thank you. I thank you. We really appreciate that. Anyways, it's Sophie. Sophie had made a comment. She's talking about increase the supply, allow the ADUs and laneway housing. Not sure what an ADU stands for. but definitely increase the supply, because it's all supply and demand. The market will pay what the market will pay if an item is scarce, which I'm telling you is why our food costs are going to go crazy and through the roof, because we haven't even begun to see the fallout from the Russia-Ukraine war yet. But I'm telling you, the growing season in Ukraine will be all but not, and nobody will be buying anything from Russia. You take those two chunks of growers out of the equation, and the rest of us are going to pay through the nose.
You know
We
what's
think
funny,
we've
though?
seen supply chain problems. Eek.
Oh, you want to hear something funny? We're going to be buying everything that we still used to buy from Russia. We're still going to be buying it from Russia, except it's going to go through a secondary party, China, and we're going to pay China even more money for it.
Yep.
So Russia still makes its money, maybe a little bit less, but now they have a better partner for them. China makes even more, and we pay even more.
Except there's going to be a problem, Ryan. I'm not sure how they're going to get their goods to China. Potentially through rail, but if they're going to put them on any kind of ocean liner and try to get it through, it's got to pass through NATO forces. So
to go from Russia to China, you wouldn't have to enter international water at all.
Oh, is it? It touches. That's right. It touches.
There's no supply chain issue.
You're right. It was through rail.
Not only that, they touch India. Russia touches pretty much half of the European and Asian countries.
Yeah, you're right. Now that I look at it, you're right.
Yeah, there's almost no supply chain issues. Not to mention, there was an article that came out the other day that the U.S. State Department was all worried because, I forget the number, X number of Russian tankers had disappeared from their tracking radar. Okay? You know what that is? That's a tanker avoiding your sanctions and embargoes. So get used to it. Okay? So whatever transponders they had, whatever they had to do, they're radio silent, whatever the hell that means. So you can probably only track it with a submarine that's actually visualizing it. But you have tankers literally turning off transponders. And it's like, okay, they don't care. Okay, and I got to ask you guys a question too. What value is an American sanction when they're only a small piece of the pie at the end of the day? Like, who cares if America says you can't buy it? Like, that's what I'm wondering is like, why do they care? Why would they even listen? When
you see that, so I've got the world map up of like the world. I've got the world map up of the world. And when you actually look at the size, the vastness of Russia, it does really dwarf the rest of them. And it's funny because it's not inhabitable for sure. But it's just funny that, now that you look at it, I didn't realize a couple of things. How it is attached to Finland. So no wonder Finland's all upset and verklempt about what's going on. And how close the darn thing is to Japan, and that it touches North Korea. So like you don't even realize until you look at it, because how often are we spending? I don't open the Atlas every day and look at stuff. And when you see it on news clips and stuff, they show you it going up against Kazakhstan and.
Sorry, I said it touches India. I don't think it does, but you have the map in front of you. I think I made a mistake.
It doesn't touch India, but you're right. India and China are they can go right through China and right into India.
Yeah, they literally don't need. I mean, how? To me, it just seems funny how does NATO countries have an upper hand over Russia, given they can't even turn their lights on without Russian gas? That's my thing. And then now you've got the supply chain, which is now going to function better than it ever did because they've totally forgotten about the US dollar. And they're now trading rubles direct with rupees and all shit like this. So it's like, well, no, truly, I mean, they're called rubles and rupees and gems or whatever. I don't know what they trade down there, but it's all over the map. But they're trading with each other and they've forgotten the US dollar. And now they're saying, yeah, screw the US dollar. Let's get back to gold, guys. It's like,
well,
okay.
And you know what's funny? When you look at where Ukraine actually is on this map to the rest of it, you sort of go, and the theory is with Ukraine anyways, it was one of the buffer zones for NATO, against NATO. But like, Ah,
Look at where Ukraine is relative to their capital.
I know. Well, and it's interesting. Like Kazakhstan is much larger than even Mongolia. Kazakhstan is much larger than India. Why didn't it invade Kazakhstan?
Well, why would they though? Like, is Kazakhstan an issue, or even
Well,
is
why
Kazakh-
Ukraine is what I should have said.
NATO Ukraine has been asking for NATO membership. NATO has been saying we'll consider it. We'll consider it. It was the one deal that they made that could not be broken.
Mhm.
It's just Ukraine cannot join NATO. This has been discussed. Candace, it looked like you had something to say.
I was just going to say, I mean, Putin even flew a jet through Finland's airspace armed with nukes just to send them a message about going to NATO.
I think the NATO thing, people are really, really disregarding how important that is to the Soviet collapse and what happened after that. Because in Putin's eyes, the Ukraine is Russian territory that was lost after the collapse of the Soviet Union, right? So we've got to look at it like that. This is all Russian land in Putin's eyes as a former KGB officer. Like, this is his land. So he's, in my opinion, he's obviously a total psycho, but at the same time, there were rules put in place when this all happened. Again, it happened in 1991. Rules were broken, and this is, I mean, there's going to be war. What is I often wonder, like, what do we expect when they tell us, like, what did Donald Trump do? He said, if you fuck with me, we'll kill all you guys. And then he did. He dropped bombs on literally half of the people in Iran. It was crazy. But Russia said the same thing. So are we surprised that they're doing it? America says the same thing. Like Obama said it. Step on our toes here. We're going to drop bombs. Very shortly after that, they decimated Syria. Okay. And it was just so everyone does it. I just think it was a guarantee. I mean, I wish I almost knew more about it politically, because in the future, I feel like a lot of people could have foreseen this. I'm not one of them, but this seemed obvious.
It's a concern for sure. Like, it is a very big concern.
Like, can you imagine if we push so hard with NATO that India, North Korea, Russia, China, Mongolia, and Kazakhstan form their own little group that is just impenetrable, and they dominate that side of the planet? And I mean dominate. You know what I mean? Because, like, are we pushing them in a direction where they're saying, like, wow, I hate you guys so much. We're making new friends.
The question I have is, and I guess I could look it up I could Google it, is when you look at the land mass of all of these things, I wonder what the population differential is. Like, I know that there's probably charts somewhere that show, and I'm going to Google it in a second, how big a country is versus their population. Like, because it just seems like it just seems outrageous when you see how small some of these countries are, and that we put a lot of power in them. Like where England, France, like where the UK is, France, Spain, Italy, Germany, Poland, that whole little thing, it's like a little tiny bit of a fragment.
Yeah, but
to this
population density in Russia is out of control. Okay, obviously there's not a lot of so one of those words I can't say. Not a lot of the land you can live on. Okay, Siberia though is going to be a place that the world will fight a war in the next couple of 100 years, because that makes Texas and Alberta look like a joke, because Siberia has all of the natural resources. Now it's a bitch to dig and extract. That's why they don't do it. It's the tundra. It's Siberia. One day that will be the only way forward, is digging Siberia, and Russia will. I mean, I don't believe the electrification of the planet will happen before we lose the need for oil. That's just my gut. And I think there's a time and a place where Russia, I don't think anyone here is going to be alive. This is going to be generations and generations. But the amount of natural resources they have in that land that's unoccupied is out of control, literally out of control. Now they're touching some of the other pieces of land with the highest amounts of lithium in the freaking world, that being Afghanistan. And it's that country and where it's situated if they played their cards right, seriously played their cards right with a new alliance, that Ray Dalio video could come to fruition. I really believe that. That Ray Dalio video, I don't want to sound like a pumper, but that blew my mind, that video. Totally blew my mind.
Yeah. And Verena just mentioned about the climate change, because the scientists have just come out and said that we've got to do some drastic stuff if we want to stop it. And we're not talking drastic stuff over the next 10, 20 years, drastic stuff now. And the reality is it's not going to happen. So we're going to have to be prepared for the effects of climate. They're coming. There's no way we're going to stop it. I'm almost at the point that we shouldn't even be trying. We should be trying to figure out ways to deal with it and to cope with it, because there's no way you're going to get the whole world on board.
That's true. Very true.
I mean, especially take the war right now. Imagine how all of that crap from explosions and, half of Ukraine burning, that's all going up. When it comes to the climate, we're screwed. It's going to change. Get ready for it, folks.
Well, we're humans. We're supposed to adapt, right?
Yeah, we can adapt.
We have the technology too, so.
But it's to your point, Candace, I often talk about, even with our labor challenges, that we need to find ways that if labor is never coming back, and I really think of outside of there being some kind of a massive depression and people will then do anything for money. I just really think that the labor challenges are going to persist. We had a job posting in the US, really decent job. It was a project manager role. Usually it gets about 30 to 50 external applicants will apply. They had two applicants apply for this, where they used to get 30 to 50 in between there. And so the workforce is not going away. So then you have to examine, well, what do I need this particular person to do, so that when you've got labor in your building, they've got to do the most important tasks and then seek ways to automate everything else. Yeah. And if we can get to that place, because that was to your point, Candace, I don't think the labor thick situation is going to come back. Just like I think we've passed the point of no return for climate change. And so then now we've got to find ways to deal with it. Same.
One Band-Aid solution, I think, for the labor issue is in the olden days, it wasn't so much about what experience you had, because they would train you on the job to do whatever it was. It didn't matter what it was. We almost have to start moving back in that direction, because now we're in a situation where you say, okay, well, these are the qualifications I need. You're not going to get it. You're going to need to take somebody who doesn't have those qualifications and train them and bring them up to speed. You're going to have to invest a lot more into training. That's just the new reality. Either that, or else if you can get a robot to do it, then do that. But
I was watching this really, really interesting YouTube video. I'm obsessed with YouTube. You guys know that. And they were talking about the sense of euphoria that was in the labor market. And this video was related to the inversion of the 10-2 yield curve and then the wage spiral, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, they were talking about how so in 1928 and then in 29, but it started in 1928. In urban centers, work became less of a necessity and more of a want almost, and less of a need. I guess people were invested that heavily in the market, and maybe it was just a timely video when they're taking advantage of the times and yada yada. I just thought it was an interesting comparison, because I always go back to that Joseph Kennedy quote where he says, when the shoe shine boy tells you a stock tip, get the hell out. And we got shoe shine boys giving us stock tips every day. So you know what I mean? And we have people saying that I can make more money hodling Dogecoin and farming 8 billion% this and that. You know what I mean? And it's like we live in this world where work is optional, or we think it is. And the last time, at least this video was saying, was the last real time was people were thinking in the 1920s that you were on top of the world and that it was potentially optional. Anyway, needless to say, we all know what happened in 1929.
Yeah, Verena made a nice point. It said, I just hope that we here still have a good life and be able to have a good retirement without living in fear if war is coming or Mother Nature, that will take her revenge. I think that's a good point, Verena. I mean, it's all about saving a little bit, having a nest egg, but enjoying what you've got today, because we really don't know if we have tomorrow. And so, anyways, hi, Neil.
On that
Hey, man.
super note, hi.
Yeah, and just to throw in a little more doom and gloom, right now we're looking at refugees from war. Our next big refugee crisis is going to be climate change refugees, because there are going to be people that will have to relocate because parts of this planet are not going to be very nice to live in. And that's just a reality, and that's going to happen.
Yeah. So again, where do we put all these people? Where do these people go? Where do people
I can
go?
honestly say, though, genuine question, I'm not knocking that. I do find it funny, a climate change refugee, the idea of it. Not the idea of climate change, the idea of it, though. But I'll be honest, what does the weather have to be like that it's so bad that you're a refugee? I have to, honestly, because if people can't escape the jungles where it rains and there's anacondas cutting you up every day, or if you can't escape Sahara Africa right now in like plus 50, what's the weather genuine outside of a flood and your city is no longer habitable? Like, what weather seriously would have you, in just a genuine question for all you guys? Like, what would you be? What's a refugee?
The first most obvious is rising sea levels.
But yeah,
There's a lot of cities that are actually below sea level that are just not going to make it.
Yeah.
In addition to
Outside of
that,
flood,
you have severe drought areas where you used to have fertile ground. It starts becoming more and more desert-like. That as well, you may not be able to support yourself in a region like that, especially if you're in a region that used to always get water from glaciers, and that water is now gone. There's no fresh water source. That's another reason where you might have to move, or else be pumping water in from a longer distance away.
Yeah, but look at Las Vegas pumps water in. That's not a refuge. That's not a valid claim for refugee, in my opinion. I'm saying honestly, outside of your town flooding because the sea level is rised, if you don't have water in your town relocates.
So let's say climate change were to create a series of tornadoes that were really bad, and you absolutely destroy a town. Those people are now climate refugees.
No, they're
not a refugee. They just have to relocate within their country.
Yeah, the southern states, they all just rebuild.
But isn't that kind of what a refugee is, though, Ryan? Is that
within your own country? So if I live in Tornado Alley in Kansas and the tornadoes get absolutely devastating, am I a refugee now to Great Britain if I want better weather? Like, no. That's just my gut. That's why I was asking the question, though. Again, I don't know where we stand on this or whatever, but
think of the island nations and just the sea level rise. That alone, those are going to be places where you're going to see a lot of people just have to leave.
Sure. I'm more talking like main first world maybe type countries, but
hey, can I ask a weird question, Candace? How does the sea level rise? How does the sea level rise if if we don't have fresh, like, how does that happen? How does the sea level rise?
The molecules in water, when you heat them up, they get further apart. So because they get further apart, the water expands. So with a warmer planet, the ocean actually takes up more space than it does now. You don't have any more water. You just have a larger volume of water. So as it expands, it has to come up onto the land. That's the only place for it to go.
Okay. So what needs to happen is some very, very smart people need to figure out how to take seawater and make it into fresh water.
Doesn't matter. That'll give you something to drink, but it's still going to be all over your land. Your cities will still be flooded.
Yeah, that's too much water. You won't be able to. Yeah, you won't be able to store that water anywhere to convert it into fresh water. The amount of water is just insane. It's going to be
then when that water gets higher, it's warmer. It feeds a lot more storms. The coastal areas, like hurricanes, will become even much worse than they are today. There's just a lot of different scenarios that will all sort of result as this happens.
So maybe Ryan needs to buy instead of an island and a farm for a commune, maybe he needs to go and climb the mountains there in Calgary and stake some claims in the mountains.
Water's not going to make it that far in. But honestly, one of the safest places to live in North America is probably along the Rockies on Ryan's side. So from Calgary down to about Colorado. Unless the super volcano goes, then you're toast. but that's probably not going to happen.
What happened to you guys while I was gone?
Listen, we didn't have any updates on NFTs. I'm telling you, Neil, we have to, before we jump into NFTs, I would really love to do our wonderful, amazing segment on the metaverse, brought to you by Mountain Finance and our good friend Candace Mountain.
Okay, and Tim Perry just rolled up, so I'm going to turn my mic off. I'll be back in a few minutes, and yeah, so I'm not being rude. Sorry, Candace, but
okay.
I got to keep my dog quiet.
Okay.
Okay, everybody, welcome once again to the metaverse. This is a very interesting week when it comes to the cryptocurrencies. I think we only have one coin in the top 10 that was there last week. So it is changed a lot. And the number one coin, well, I think it'll shock people. All right, so let's get ourselves started. And we will start with number 10. This I think is the only coin that was there last week. They were at number 9 last week. UFO gaming, they were down 4.3%. Number 9, we've seen these guys before. This is Aurora. They're basically, you can play this in any form of, whether it be desktop, mobile, phone, it doesn't matter. You can play it anywhere. So they were up 5.1%. Pretty interesting. Number 8, back on the list again, is Avagotchi. This is the one that looks a lot like the Tamagotchi. So you can sort of play and feed that little animal thing and hopefully not kill it. I was very good at killing it. It was up 0.4%. Matter of fact, the Avagotchi is sort of like our Shakepay today. It's like I tried not to Tim Danter the Avagotchi, but I did very quickly.
Oh.
Number 7, and this is one of my favorites, Rainy. Rainy is back. This is the one that has the rainbows and unicorns. So how can you not feel good about a coin like this?
I don't know.
It is up 7.8%. Coming back onto the chart again, last week they were not here. Mobox, they were up 15.2%, and they are a cross-platform metaverse, so that's also pretty cool. All right, number 5 is Benzene, and this is the metaverse coin, not the chemical. They're up 26.7% on the week, and they're all about blowing up cars. So if you ever wanted to blow up a car, this is your game. Number 4. This is the one that I'm still a little annoyed at because I played it once on my live stream and it was boring as all banana bread. They were up 23.8% though, enough to get them at number 4.
Wow.
Number 3, all 3, 2, and 1 are complete brand new to the list. Number 3 is The Hustle. So The Hustle is a Web 3.0 music company. They've got NFTs, metaverse, gaming. They basically call themselves the future of music. They plan to host virtual events, conferences, meet and greets, as well as different exclusive experiences. And this is mostly catering to people in the music industry. They also have, they're looking to add multi-chain liquidity, and they're also going to add a game as well as land sales. So it's kind of interesting. They were up 42.4%. All right, number 2, Neo Credits. Neo Credits were up 46.1%. They're basically a virtual community, peer-to-peer, real-time collaboration. It's all about teamwork and collaboration. This will be a good vehicle, I think, for a lot of businesses as well. Now, one of the things that was interesting about Neo Credits is they do support full haptic feedback and body tracking, which basically means body tracking is like you put one of them suits on that can detect everything you do so it can move perfectly with you. Haptic feedback is where if somebody touches you in the metaverse, you'd actually feel it on the suit where you're touched. So
I could just have, I could see bad things happening with that. Like I could just see Ken getting a bit touchy-feely.
Neo Police, yes.
All
yeah,
right.
that'll happen.
Number 1, the ROI is going to blow you out of the water. Number 1, up 250% in 1 week, gridzone.io. They are a Web3 metaverse with 3D avatars. They got a party to earn scenario. So it's basically like a giant party that you can go to. It's called the Astro Cafe. They also have NFT art, and they've got 3D art that you can actually navigate around so you can view it from every possible direction. They're built on Ethereum. I'm not sure why they exploded this much, but yeah, huge, just huge. So those are our coins this week. And you'll notice everybody's gone. All of our favorites gone.
Okay, so let me ask before you jump into the next segment.
Sure.
Neil, that sounds like it's right up your alley, this gridzone.io.
I actually haven't heard it before, so yeah.
Like
I'm just
party to earn.
Yeah, I wish I could party.
Yeah.
Why not? I like to party.
3D avatars, groundbreaking, super club, adrenaline fueled racing games, NFTs. Like, I don't know, might be something. Is it a website too, Candace, or is it just a coin?
No, there's a website as well. Well, I mean, yeah, the website is everything is all built on it. So
yeah, it went from 50 cents to about $1.50.
Yeah,
it's a pretty decent jump.
I know, but will it go higher than that, or what's the tokenomics on that?
That's a good question. It's one of those ones that where it's cheap enough, it doesn't hurt to throw a few bucks into it and see what happens.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it.
Website looks really cool.
Yeah, their website does look pretty cool.
So now we're all looking. Okay, so let's go to
the stocks. Unless you have more coin stuff before we want to jump over to the stockaroni.
No, I'm
stockaronis.
I'm cool, Candace.
All right. Okay, let's move into the stocks. Number 7 is friggin' Apple. Apple has been at number 7 now for like 3 or 4 weeks. It's just they just don't want to give up that spot. So they were down 3.19%. On the stock side this week, you're going to find most of them were either down or not making very big gains. So number 6, we have Snap. Snap managed to sneak back in, even though they were down 1.55%. Snap's just one of those things. I've never really got Snapchat. It's like if I put something on the internet, I want it to stay on the internet. I don't want it to just disappear. So, but you know, I do understand their avatar technology. So,
Candace, before you move on, really genuine question for you. Do you think, now I don't know the metaverse as well as you do, but do you genuinely think, or do you think that there's a possibility of, because I hear stirrings all the time, probably just by eager investors and retail BS, right? Do you think Roblox and Snapchat have a place together in the same bed kind of thing? Like just with the skins that Snap can apply to the character? I don't know.
You know, that's not a bad idea. But I think that
not my idea.
I think that Roblox can stand alone. I don't think they need Snapchat, but I think Snapchat would certainly love to get in with somebody like Roblox. The end result would be something better, but I think Roblox can hit it on their own. I don't think they need.
Yeah. No, I was just sorry, Candace, didn't want to interrupt, but
right.
I've been hearing YouTube videos all the time, maybe wishful thinking or whatever, but just wanted to bring it up because you know how much I love Snapchat.
Probably in the same area that you'd put a root canal.
Yeah.
All right, number 5, back on the list again is NVIDIA Corporation, and they were actually down 11.4%. But the calculation of the spot actually takes into consideration their monthly as well, and they were up quite a bit on the month, so that's what pulled them through. Number 4, we have Fastly. Fastly is back again, so they're a content delivery network, and their big role is basically reducing the latency in the metaverse. They were down 0.84%. Now, over at number 3, they were at 5 last week, so they've actually come up a little bit. It's Equix, so EQIX or Equinix. Equinix was up 1.22%. And once again, we're back to the whole infrastructure. And this one here, this is a REIT. So it's definitely very, very interesting. Number 2, and this is Planet Labs again. They're back in. They were down 0.63%. But these are the ones that have the satellites that have all of that map data of the Earth. So that's just absolutely fantastic. And I think the data and the way they can actually manage that data is going to be so invaluable for the metaverse. And let's get to number 1. So our number 1 this week is Facebook. Facebook, they were down 1.85% this week, but they were very high on their 1 month. but there's not much I can say about Facebook. I mean, they renamed themselves as Meta. It's nice to see them not completely tanking, even though not a huge Facebook fan, but I know there's a lot of you out there that love Facebook. So, hey, this is your moment.
You know, I was watching something yesterday or the day before about how, and I think it was an Anthony Pompliano video where they were talking about Facebook and Twitter and any of those big social media companies should be regulated the same way that they regulate the like Bell, TELUS, any of those other ones, because like Bell or any kind of phone line, they can't censor what conversations you're having over the phone and who you're calling. They're not allowed to do that. And this should be, they need to put some regulations around that. And I know it was Anthony Pompliano, and he was interviewing a guy that's running for the US Senate. And he said, no, they're big enough now that they don't get to censor what people are saying. It's not acceptable.
Well, I mean, interesting news yesterday on Twitter. Elon, it came out that Elon has bought 9.2% of Twitter shares.
And do we know why? Because I didn't get a chance to read much about why he did that.
Doge experience?
Well, it's not that. Here's a funny thing. Elon was making these comments a few months ago about how he should start his own social media platform. And then I think he realized how much work it would be when Twitter's already there. He loves Twitter. So I think he just said, you know what, I'll just buy in. I'll become the number one shareholder in Twitter. And he's now on their board. So
not only that, Elon Musk has more ability. And this was a Meet Kevin video. This is not my idea. Now, Meet Kevin is obsessed with Tesla. But when he brought this down, I thought this is genius. So Elon Musk is obviously obsessed with free speech. If you follow him on Twitter, it's obvious. I mean, he's just nonstop about that stuff, right? So, okay. Fuck, I totally lost my train of thought. No clue why I just had talking about Elon Musk. What the fuck are we talking about?
You were saying he had he's social influencer.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay. So the video was relating to, so he does only represent 9 and change % of shares, right? He is the single largest shareholder. Yes, we all know that, followed by JP Morgan, going down the list of a few banks, and then Jack Dorsey, the founder, at only 2.something%. Anyway, so Elon Musk, he's already made $750 million on that trade because tying his name to anything blows it up, right? Now, he has more influence online than any of those banks or Jack Dorsey do combined sometimes, okay? When he runs a Twitter poll, he's got 1 to 1.2 to 1.5 million votes, right? What he's doing is he's contacting shareholders who are eligible to vote at the year-end shareholders meeting, right? His ability to in fact influence people outside of his 9% greatly exceeds the bank's ability to influence outside of their owned percentage, right? So Elon's 9% is going to turn into 25%. And their 8%, which they could leverage to say 15, is going to go down to 12 because of their lack of voice now. So Elon Musk only put in what he had to do to dominate their board now, have their CEO drop to his freaking knees and repeat everything Elon says, which happened on Twitter the other day, just like that. Just like that. And then not to mention Elon's recent tweets. Do you guys think there's anything wrong with the algorithm? Let's see what happens with the algorithm. Let's just see where Twitter goes. Because at the end of the day, he's got all the power. And this is literally like finding $2 under your cushion to Elon Musk. And he just bought 9% of Twitter.
And here's my big prediction is the only change you're really going to see on Twitter is that Elon Musk is going to become the new Tom, and everybody who joins Twitter will automatically follow.
Well, did you guys notice that massive pump in Doge? I bet you Doge will be on Twitter. I would be willing to bet Doge will be on Twitter. Doge pumps like crazy. And if we were to check the year-to-date returns on all 5 of our coins when we go back to the beginning, I swap mine to Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised if only because of this pump, Doge is in number 1 place. Doge exploded the other day when everything else was down and kept going and going and going. And it's not at a high price, but the percentage relative to the price was high, obviously, right? But it it recovered incredibly, and not to mention I think his most recent poll was asking if you want an edit button. And quite honestly, Twitter's needed an edit button since its founding. So it's like, we're going to get an edit button. That's obvious. We're probably going to get Dogecoin as a payment system, as well as Lightning and Bitcoin, whatever. And, beyond that, I think it's so exciting. You guys know, I'm obsessed with this cat.
Do you think he'd be the typical MO to run for president?
He's not from America. It's not possible anyway. He's not born in the United States.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But just to address just
He can be a governor.
just be a vet, when it comes to Elon, we may sometimes give him a lot of heck, but he's probably in my top 10 list of favorite people on the planet. So
I'll tell you straight up, he's my number one favorite human being on the planet. So yeah, I have a bad time being too positive. That's my bias. I'll put that out there right there.
Yeah.
What do I say that? Sorry.
If I don't count dead physicists who I really, really, really love, then Elon would move up quite a bit higher.
What I can't figure out is why I love Elon Musk's brain so much and yet don't own one single piece of any of his companies. I have yet to figure out why I'm afraid to invest with him. But there's that, my mother just said, because it's too expensive. Unit biased is a bitch. We don't do that anymore. Okay, so
that's right.
So yeah, I don't fuck with unit bias. Or sorry, guys, I don't mess with the unit bias stuff anymore. But I still can't figure out why it is that I have no faith in the stock and yet more faith in him as a human than I've ever had in anyone else in my entire life as like an engineer and world guy. I still can't figure that out. I have no idea.
Interesting.
Well, it's going to be interesting because people are going to start to challenge him. I look at Amazon putting all the satellites up and getting Alliance on board and making all these partnerships and stuff, right? So he's going to get challenged. I mean, is he just going to be able to withstand the storm? And he's just getting out and making his statements and his mark in history now.
Yeah.
Hold on. Just give me like 2 seconds.
Tim Barry's here.
Two
Well,
seconds.
I want to hear from Neil because we haven't heard from him in a long, long time. Neil, how have you been and how are all the ponies in the stable?
Good. I've been just hiding under a couch. I disappeared for a while.
Like Ken's cat.
I've been Zed had an update a while ago, and you've got to reclassify all your horses. So I'm just in the process of doing that. So that's just like I've got to run them 10 times, and then they get reclassed moving forward. But it's not the easiest just because there's discovery races now, and that's the first step. So I'm just slowly chipping away on there. I'm only racing some horses. I don't know, just got some for later. I'm getting a lot of offers on stuff, but not really what I paid. And I'm not really too interested right now because I'm waiting for the airdrop or the token drop, the DES, which is supposed to be coming up. So I haven't been doing too much there, but I actually got a Q1. Actually, Ryan needs to sit down for this because he'd like this. I got a Q1 profit from one of the NFTs I hold. So last week I got, I think it was just under $22 for each one that I minted a few months ago. And so at the end of each quarter, they go and they distribute profits to the, as they call it, the herd share for holding the NFT. And considering it wasn't a very good quarter and it was, unpredictable, not really doing a lot, I was pretty pleased with that because I've already recovered, almost 20 or a little over 20% of my investment. So that was cool. And then I just hit a drop the other day on Vivi. Hello.
Oh, you hit a drop on Vivi. That's amazing.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of, I actually took a huge break from pretty much everything I've read. I don't know, I read 4 or 5 books last month and all that stuff. So I really did just get away from it, but I hadn't touched Vivi, but they've really been going after bots. I saw one guy posted that he wants the bots back because he bought 20 of a drop today because he's just so used to keep hitting and hitting and hitting, I guess. So I thought that was pretty humorous, but it's still a work in progress, so it's still going through. But I'm just kind of doing my thing. I haven't really done much else. I stayed out of Discord and all that. Just I was taking a break. And it
That's
looks like
good.
everything's pretty much the same. So
We really need to understand Discord a bit better. I got in there for a little bit and don't understand how that darn thing works.
it's just like a giant, I don't know, board of messages. So it's like there's groups and you join different groups for different reasons. And then there's like sub chats within it. There's a general chat. You usually have to verify that you're not a bot. But it's just, it's constantly being on there and that, and, being at work, being a dad, it's not always easy. We've been doing a renovation that's almost over.
So you're a busy guy.
More often than not, yeah. So, and like anyone who has kids, you get into a rhythm and everything starts going good, and then everything, like one thing changes and it just throws the whole routine out. So like just dealing with that stuff all the time, and everyone's good though. The kids are healthy, spouse is healthy, so I can't complain. Went and saw my parents after a little bit of a health scare with them, so yeah, it's been good. We're on the up and up, and hopefully things are trending in the up in general.
Yeah. No, it's really good. Jason Spooner says, Ken, Andrew is at home right now just hating on Tim Perry.
Rob's looking in 9.
Oh my goodness. So we got Ryan. Was it fun to meet Tim Perry for the first time?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's fucking. I mean,
Really?
what's his name?
He's got a view like no tomorrow here.
It's fucked. It is mental.
Hi, Tim.
Hello. Yeah, he's got a like unbelievable view.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. How's your walkabout?
It's good. I've been using my Shakepay card all the way through, so
Nice.
Nice.
I made $12 in Bitcoin.
Nice.
Hey, listen, that's what it's all about, stacking those sats.
You'll have enough
So
to-
tonight, that
if I
$12
find
is
you
probably
over-
worth 11.
That's right.
It's worth a lot. What?
11.
It's probably worth 11 now since
Oh,
it
it's
dropped
down
down.
today, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we actually broke through one of my supports, so we may go down a little bit.
What are we at, American?
Right now, we're sitting at
56.
43,197.
If anybody goes back 1 week from today, between 4 days and 7 days from today, any one of you can do it on barchart.com. Look at where Bitcoin bounced, right? And I don't even track these. Okay, so this is way outside. I had to figure out why mine was a little bit off, because it was a little bit off. They bounced off the 200-day moving average immediately. Okay. And then was huddling the 100-day average, just hugging it, and then was rejected, obviously, on the 100-day, probably closer. There was that 45.5 that Tim was talking about. Candace is probably mentioning the 45.5. We lost the 100-day moving average, which is obviously horrible, right? But when we lose the 200-day, that's a really obvious bearish trend.
But here's something really interesting. Terra, who had been buying a bunch of Bitcoin, they sort of just stopped at the beginning of this week and they're sitting back. It's almost like they know something where we're going to go down a little bit and they're just waiting to get a little bit cheaper Bitcoin.
I think there will be, and Candace, I think that there will be, the only reason I say that is because, again, my fib retracements that I show sometimes, I'm close, but I was nowhere near as accurate as barchart.com on the 200-day moving and the 100-day moving. And it was just like boom, 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 collapse right down. Typical. I mean, that was almost a textbook pattern. It hit the 200, bounced to the 100, the 45.5, teeter-totter and crashed. Boom. It was just like, damn.
Why 200-day?
I don't know why they use 200-day as their. I use the 100-day for most of my stocks, but I tracked the 200 because I wanted to see where it bounced, and it happened to be right off the 200 that it bounced. And then it hugged and danced with the 100 at the 45.5, 46 range, right? So it was dancing there for a second. So I'm like, okay, so maybe the ranges have a little bit more to do with it than my retracements. So I was following that, and then we obviously failed to hold that level. And that's the second bearish signal on the moving average trends. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So I don't think it's too much of a surprise. But again, now the next level to retest again, if we can't push back up to back through that 45.5 or whatever the 100-day moving average is at the time, if we can't push through that on our next little bull run up, then that would be a really bearish sign, I would say. I mean, that would be 3 pretty big rejections in a row. So we've had 2.
I wouldn't even mind seeing us going down to about 40,000 and then turning around at that point.
I'm just hoping for the high 30s, Candace. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for the mid to high 30s. That's my number. I've had it in my head for a while. I'm thinking mid to high 30s. I'm hoping.
But I mean, here's the thing too. I mean, Terra's not going to sit back forever. You know, they probably are looking to get a little bit of a deal, but I wouldn't even be surprised if towards the end of this week or the beginning of next week, they're going to be buying. Now, Michael Saylor actually already bought again this week from Macro Strategies, his other company. So,
and Jeff S says, you know, BTC will dump when Michael Saylor buys. Jeff S, you are right. That has been what's happened.
Here's another funny thing too. There's no science behind this. This is just weirdness, but almost every time they have that stupid Bitcoin conference in Miami, the price dumps.
Yeah. Well, because the Bitcoiners are all there. There's 200, I think they say there's 200 to 220,000 people there in Miami.
They paying for their hotels in Bitcoin.
They got to.
We're going to have the Bitcoin boom. So we had the baby boom. It's going to be the Bitcoin boom. We're probably going to spawn 20,000 Bitcoin babies at this conference alone. I think we're going to spawn Bitcoin babies all over the place. You think I'm kidding? I bet you Bitcoiners united. It's going to create the ultimate. It's almost like Zed Run. We're doubling down on the Bitcoiner now. Now we got a super breed. So we've got the next generation of super Bitcoiners.
What are you saying, that all those shenanigans is they're buying a dip?
You know what's funny? The guests that they have coming, they're buying the dip. Tim, I love you, bud. But all the guests that they're having, I find
you're actually renting, not buying.
Oh, there we go.
Well, there you go.
Captain.
Good luck, Neil.
I had to be technical about it.
Well,
I'm free to ask what Bitcoin's going to be doing in 2025. 6 figures by then, no doubt.
You think so?
2025, yeah. We're talking
a year and a half.
We're talking a little bit. Well, it's 2022. It's almost 3 years, so 2.5 years. We should be at 100K by then.
Who was it that said today? It was someone I was watching today, and it's I've never thought of it this way. And sometimes it's just like I just take things for granted. And he says the reason why the institutions are so interested in Bitcoin is because it has the largest liquidity.
Yeah. Well, you want to know something else interesting? I actually was listening to Kevin O'Leary the other day, and he was saying that the SEC and the Ontario Securities Commission tend to be almost in bed together.
Yeah.
And they're running off of Ontario.
They're watching our spot Bitcoin to see how it goes before they approve one. It's interesting that, and no matter whether you're a fan or not of Kevin O'Leary, you can't deny the guy is really, really smart. He knows that business really well. So you got to put some credence in it.
But I take a little bit of caution in the fact that he's saying to get stability, you need to have regulations. And I'm thinking, okay, fine. But are you saying that because WonderFi just bought BitBuy?
Well,
and
he's
now
He's been saying that long before WonderFi and BitBuy were in bed together. So that's been on his lips for a very long time. And he's right when it comes to, there's a lot of businesses that would get into crypto if it had some kind of regulation. There's a lot of businesses that legally they just can't get in until there's some regulation in place. So regulation, even though us as people who love decentral, we need a certain level of regulation if we want to get that mass adoption.
You betcha we do. Jeff S is asking, what do you guys think Jack Mallers' big announcement will be, and will it move the market or be a big nothing burger?
No, I think Mallers is due for something, to be honest with you. I watched him on Natalie Brunell for an hour and a half the other day, and I bet you it's something to do. I bet you someone big he's done a big deal with someone, or Amazon,
like Visa or something
big like Amazon, or hell, he may even be doing something with Elon. I don't know, something separate and out there.
He's one of my faves.
I love that guy.
He is crazy.
You listen to his story. He's come up. Who was it? Was it the Texans, the Harrises, that tried to manipulate the price of silver or gold in Chicago way back when? And it was his grandfather that kicked him out, and they went over to the New York Stock Exchange, and that's where they played havoc with it, but that he wouldn't allow it in the Chicago. I guess it was the Chicago Board of Trade at that point in time.
Yeah,
which was interesting.
No,
So,
definitely.
and his dad it sounds like his dad sounds like he's a Bitcoin maxi, because he was buying it, like he was telling Jack to buy it, and he was buying tons of it way back when Jack was in university in the early years, high school and university.
Yeah, I know as well. The Apple Bitcoin rumors have been really getting rampant lately too. Like normally when you hear these rumors, they have their legs don't have very much that they go, and before long the company will come out refute it. But everybody's being mum on this at Apple when it comes to Bitcoin. So I find that a little bit interesting.
Is anyone from Apple at the Bitcoin conference?
That I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it certainly will be interesting this week watching what goes down there and seeing the announcements. So,
well, the president of El Salvador is supposed to be doing a guest appearance, so maybe it's something with that.
See, on this week, I probably should have done Bitcoin this weekend instead of last.
Oh, well, you know what? You were a woman before her time.
Yeah, but that's all right.
Anyways, well, we're at an hour and 40 minutes. Just wanted to give everybody a chance to say a few last words, and then we will let Ryan go and hang out with Mr. Tim Perry and enjoy the night with his mom. And he's having a party at his place.
Mm-hmm.
This was totally, sorry guys, I was just talking to Tim Perry, but this was totally, my mom only came here on Monday, basically like earlier, and my total surprise called me and just said, I'm bored as hell at home, so whatever. Now we got Tim Perry and my mom and me, and we're going to go get ham shout. I'm kidding. And then Nancy on Sunday will join us.
There you go.
Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So, Candace, what do you got going on your stream this week?
Well, I got shorts every day as normal. Tomorrow, I did a video on Monday, a dividend video. It did really, really well. So I decided to see if iron can strike twice, and I've got another dividend video coming out tomorrow. Canada versus the U.S. in REITs.
Nice.
Some really interesting numbers in that video. Of course, this week will be live once again on Saturday night, my new news program. So be sure to catch that. And I'll be gaming on Twitch, of course, on Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Link will be over on my site.
Awesome. Ken?
Well, I don't know. Geez, anybody look at the Banana Task Force 8 chart? I guess I called another one, huh? Yeah. I didn't get in, though. Unfortunately, it sold out in like 2 seconds.
We scared you because
that's because you've got to stop calling it so people stop rushing to it, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, I called it before any big influencers did, so. But,
Man, maybe they're watching you. You never know.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Friday, I think on Friday,
what's his name?
I'm going to talk about Seda Nobi.
Gary?
Yeah, I just said.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to do a bit of a deep dive on that one as well.
He will be here in July.
Awesome. And I just have to tell you, you guys crack me the hell up. I watch you guys on Sunday mornings when I'm having my coffee. I'm like literally sit in my chair with my cup of coffee and I watch the shenanigans that went down the night before while I'm sleeping and you guys are all awake. And you guys crack me up. You're so funny.
Yeah, last weekend was a pretty good weekend. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah,
dude, I still have the picture of Matthew McConaughey saved on my computer for you, bro. It's ready to go. Yeah, all right, you guys, ready to go.
The one that really cracked me up, and I got into a belly laugh, and I was with my girlfriends, and so I was showing them about you guys and giving them the lowdown. The one where Andrew is going on about the guy growing the nose on his forehead, and he's like, I don't understand. I go to get a Mountain Dew out of the machine, and it doesn't work. He goes, are we living in the future? Are we living in the past? I just about spit my coffee out of my nose. I was laughing so hard. And my friends are like, what is happening here? I'm like, this is nothing. These guys do this all the time. So anyways, you guys crack me up. Just totally crack me up. And
We
Neil,
try, we
it's been
try.
good seeing you. It's been good. We missed you on your hiatus, and we hope to see you again soon. And hope you can join the party and chat with us a bit more often.
Yeah, I'll try and be a little bit more visible. I'll just be a late addition unless the
Hey.
children want to go to bed at a
late
very
than never.
early hour.
Better late than never is what I
But
say.
If
Yeah.
anyone's checking out that new Moon Knight Marvel miniseries,
It's awesome.
there's actually some cool stuff going on with Marvel. There's a QR code that shows up during the episode, and if you scan it, it will take you to Marvel's website where you can read a free comic. And they're doing that. They've done it in the first 2 episodes. So there's some really cool stuff they're doing, not only with NFTs, but just embedded in their media. I actually haven't watched it yet. I've just been reading about it, but I'm gonna go check it out right now. So
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, spring cleaning, getting outside if it's beautiful weather. Hopefully,
I love it. It's awesome. Ryan, will you do any live streams this week?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. My mom surprised me, so I'm going to spend time with my mom. It also happens to be the week that Tim was planning on coming here for a night, the week I'm going to meet Nancy. I don't know how all the friggin' birds fell on the same day, but this is just going to be a weird week. And I will say this.
Birds around. Shit
No, I
happens.
will say this, though. Something very weird is happening in crypto. And I sent Tim Danter a picture of my analytics. That was only for one video, for one spike. Remember, in the middle of the night, out of nowhere, every damn crypto video, same thing, as if it was like the beginning of my channel and the euphoria is there. But I don't know who's watching.
Well,
So I don't know what's
Sophie
going on.
Jones just said I watched the first episode tonight. So, Sophie, did you watch? Are you a first time with us? And if you are, thank you for coming. Or did you watch our first episode way back when?
I think she means she watched the first episode of Moon Knight.
Oh,
Could
Moon
be.
Knight.
That's my guess. That's what I'm reading.
Whatever
That
you want to believe, George.
Oh, that's embarrassing. That's very narcissistic.
Quick, end the screen. She watched your first episode. Yeah.
No. I mean, Sophie's been here for a long time, so maybe it's
Well,
not
I
your
thought
first time.
so, but I'm thinking to
Stop
myself.
talking.
Oh,
But we could all be wrong. Nope, we're right. See, look.
I'll tell you this. There's about
Oh.
5,000 Sophies on my channel. How many Johns? I don't even know. So
Oh,
Sophie Jones, I know
Sophie.
because she's a channel member on my channel, and she's been with me forever. She's been with you guys forever, but no, she's a rock star. We've had like 20 Sophies though, so don't feel bad.
And
No.
Sophie, not only do I rock, if you look at every episode of this show in the past, there is actually I actually sing on one show.
Oh boy. Yes, you rock it out. And Sophie,
on
just
Ken's
chalk
show,
it
I
up to my
rap
menopausal
too.
brain. That's what we're gonna chalk it up to. I'm out to lunch. What can I say?
All the
Anyways,
stories.
oh, the stories indeed. Indeedly doodly. And you all wait. If you aren't going through
Honey,
it,
say
you're
goodnight.
probably gonna be
Say
married
goodnight.
to it soon. Anyways,
Dun,
I'm amazed there
dun.
hasn't been more death by menopause. Anyway, so this has been fun. Yes, it should be a good defense.
You going through that shit?
Oh, Jesus, Murphy.
Don't answer it. Don't
No, I
answer
was
it.
just thinking, has she thought about killing my dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep an eye open.
That's right.
Listen, Jeff S said, I used to be hot. Now it comes in flashes. Yes, that pretty much sums it up.
Yes.
And
Picture.
oh boy. Anyways, have a fun night, Ryan, with Tim Perry and your mom, Christine. And we really, really appreciate you guys being here tonight. There she is. Hey. And
You know what's stupid? Can I tell you something that actually grinds my grinds my gears here? I told my mom, get on the live stream. She was sitting 15 inches away from me. Okay. She's like, no, I'd rather watch it on my cell phone. Meanwhile, you guys are playing on the 50-inch TV in front of us. The logic, not a clue. Anyway.
You're not supposed to understand. It's your mother.
She wanted to
She doesn't need to
make
explain.
comments. That's what I do
We
when
have
I
that-
watch
As
Candace's.
parents, we have that right.
When I watch Candace, it's on the TV, and both Tim and I are on the couch and on the chair. We're on our devices. See, so we have it on all the channels when we watch you guys. Anyways, it's nice seeing you, Christine.
See you this weekend.
Yes. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for coming and joining us.
See you later.